I would like to go ahead and get our presentation started. So, good morning, and thank you to the guests that recently arrived. Thank you for joining us this morning for the Coshocton County Youth Leadership Class of 2023 Pay It Forward project presentations. I'd also like to thank Claxon Communications for live streaming the presentations this morning to the Coshocton County Youth Leadership Facebook page and also to YouTube. So kids, this is your moment. If you want to just send a quick text to your parents to let them know. I did let them know ahead of time. And I will also provide a link to the YouTube page after the fact that where they can go and watch it later. This project, which is generously sponsored by the Coshocton Foundation Trustees, is in its 7th year and has given back close to $10,000 through the practice of philanthropy. What is philanthropy? Merriam-Webster's Dictionary Online defines it as goodwill to fellow members of the human race, especially the active effort to promote human welfare, or an act or gift done or made for humanitarian purposes. Historically, this word comes from the Greek, meaning loving people. A person who practices philanthropy is called a philanthropist. The young ladies in this class were given one instruction as it relates to this project: to make a difference in someone's life, or to be a philanthropist. Please join me in welcoming our first philanthropist, Lydia Black, to the podium as we begin the 2023 Pay It Forward project presentations. Lydia?
Hi, I'm Lydia Black. I attend Riverview High School, and I also take CCP classes through Ohio University Zanesville. This year for my Pay It Forward project, I decided to donate the money to the Shantz family after they lost 2 of their sons to a car accident back in December. Originally, I was not going to donate to the Shantz family because it was kind of like a spur-of-the-moment thing. I was planning on giving the money to First Step here in Coshocton, but after the car accident, I felt the need to help the family because I was close with both of the boys, and I mean the family in general. We were next door neighbors for years, and Wesley and I were pretty close. Like, I consider him to be one of my childhood best friends. Wesley was the one who got me into running in the first place, and that was a huge impact on my life for multiple reasons. But like in the last couple months before their death, I hadn't spoken to them, and I felt awful about that. And then after the car accident, I immediately felt grief. And the way I found out about the car accident, luckily, was through my mom, because I was supposed to go and help her third grade class that morning. And when I arrived at Keene, she had pulled me aside, which was the immediate tell that something was wrong, because she rarely ever pulls me aside to tell me something. And in that moment that she told me, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I didn't really have any emotion. And after that, I had to go to school where I saw all the cross-country team who were also friends with Wesley. And I saw all the band kids who were friends with Colin, and it shattered my heart. That was a huge loss for all of us. And then going home later that night, I just went to my room where I did see the CCYL bag that was laying next to my desk, and that's when I knew that I would be giving the money to the Shantz family. I didn't do any kind of fundraiser to increase the amount because I didn't want to draw any more attention to it. There was already fundraisers going on, and a lot of people were grieving, and I just didn't want to draw any more attention. So instead, I put the money in an envelope with a letter that said why I would be giving them the money, and that I didn't really care what they did with the money, just that they had it. And I gave it to his parents at the calling hours. And I don't know, I never spoke to them about what they did with the money. I kind of don't want to know what they did with the money. I just hope that they used it to take care of anything that the family needed in that moment. It was heartbreaking for a lot of people. There was multiple communities affected by it, and just many people who knew Wes and Shannon, or many of the friends of the boys that didn't really know how to react. It was very shocking for a lot of people. So when I donated the money, I just hoped that they did something meaningful for it. But again, I didn't give them any kind of requirements with the money. I just gave it to them to help. I wanted to give the money to someone who had a big impact on my life.
Hello, my name's Madison Graham, and I go to Riverview High School. And for my Pay It Forward project, I knew I always wanted to give the money to my church since Betsy mentioned the Pay It Forward project. And I decided to give it to a little girl named Cora. She is 10 years old. My church has always gave back to the community. We have pizza on Wednesdays with small group. We have an addiction program on Fridays, which helps the community a lot. And so I wanted to give back to them like they gave back to me and our community. We also have a preschool that is very high demanding. We started a few years ago. I volunteered there, helped there, and I thought it was a great opportunity to give back to them. And so I talked to my pastor's wife, Julie, and she was like, we have a little girl that cannot pay for dyslexia tutoring. Since COVID hit, her family had a pretty big fall, and they could no longer pay for the dyslexia tutoring that their daughter had been diagnosed with, and so their family had financial trouble. So I decided to donate my money to them. My pastor's wife ended up crying, saying that she's been praying for it for a while, and it was a blessing in disguise. I did not get to meet Cora, sadly, because she's homeschooled, but her parents did say that God provided in their hard times, and they are so thankful for this community to be able to give back to them. Doing this project, I love changing someone's life for the better, and the donation paid for months of Cora's tutoring, and so she become a better reader and grower. Thank you.
I'm Isabelle Lauvray, and I go to Coshocton High School. I chose to donate the $100 to the Coshocton County Animal Shelter. At first, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I had a couple different ideas that my mom had given me, but this is the one that stood out to me the most because the animal shelter's personally done something for me, and it's something we're very fortunate to have. When I was younger, my dogs got out, and we were unable to find them for a few hours. As I'm sure you all know, pets are just like another part of your family, so when they're gone, you notice. After a few hours, we got a call that the animal shelter had them and that they were safe. The animal shelter helps reunite families as well as take in animals that are unable to be cared for. They give them a clean, warm place to sleep and food to keep their stomachs full. Giving this donation made me feel as if I was really making a difference in these animals' lives. I think the shelter was very appreciative of the donation as they said thank you many times. Hopefully they can get whatever they need to keep the shelter an amazing place for these animals. I would like to say thank you for this wonderful opportunity to make a difference in these animals' lives. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Hollee Sheneman and I'm a junior at Riverview High School. Many of you may or may not know that Riverview Local School District is reconfiguring next school year. It will be made so that the 3rd through 6th graders will attend the current junior high building, which will be called the intermediate school. My youngest sister, Quinn, is currently a 2nd grader at Riverview. She will be transitioning into the intermediate school next year, and this is a big change. I want her to have the most positive experience possible. Naturally, as 3rd through 6th graders, such an experience would include a fun and safe place to play at during recess. However, the junior high building does not currently have any playground equipment, and equipment from the elementary buildings that are being closed cannot be moved. When I was assigned my Pay It Forward project, I knew that I had to help with this problem. Mr. Jared Renner, the principal at Conesville and the one overseeing the funding for the intermediate school playground, was happy to assist me with my project endeavors. We discussed several possibilities that I could take advantage of to turn the $100 that I was given by the Coshocton Foundation for my project into much, much more. Ultimately, I decided to put together an Ohio State-themed raffle basket to sell tickets for to raise money. I took a trip out to Coshocton and Warsaw one day to visit local businesses and see if they would be interested in donating towards my project. After all of the donations from many generous local businesses and individuals, my basket was worth well over $600. Therefore, through this project, I've discovered that Coshocton is even more of a giving and supportive community than I had previously thought. Now that I had the basket, I needed to figure out how I would sell the tickets and collect the payments. I decided to do everything virtually. I created a Google form where participants could fill out all of their information, their name, their contact information, number of tickets, which I decided to make 1 for $10 and 3 for $20, and their payment method. Participants had the option to pay through Venmo, which is an online money transfer service. With the permission of the district principals, it was also an option for people to send the money with their Riverview students to school. Finally, Russ Decor in Coshocton agreed to allow people to drop up their payments at their business as well, since there are many people who don't have access to Venmo and don't have students in Riverview. I advertised my project on social media, the Beacon, and through my school communications. By the end of my project, I had sold over 200 tickets and raised $1,550. I had successfully turned just $100 into over $1,500. That may only be enough to buy a bag of wood chips these days, but I had made an impact and I couldn't have been more proud. I worked very hard and it was so worth it. I made arrangements to get the money I raised to Mr. Renner at Conesville, and I delivered the raffle basket to the winner, whose name I drew via an online randomizer. Even though $1,500 and some will barely make a dent in the cost to build a playground, I've helped out, and that's all that matters. I know for a fact that my little sister will be very appreciative of her playground, and I'm sure there will be many memories made by the little ones for years to come. I'm certain that they will all love their playground, and I am so glad that I've been able to help make that happen. Through my Pay It Forward project, I have learned so much about the professional world, communication, skills, and leadership. I've made connections with many new people, and I've made a difference in my community. This was such an amazing experience and an opportunity, and I'm very proud of what I've achieved. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Alaina Swiney, and I am a junior at Ridgewood High School. I spent a long time trying to figure out what I wanted to donate my $100 to. I decided that I wasn't going to take what I consider an easy way out and just donate my money to, like, the Humane Society and not put any of my personality into the project. I wanted to make it my project and add some of my personality into it. I have known Odessa Ondeko since she was born, and last year, on June 14th, she was diagnosed with retinoblastoma cancer. The cancer is a cancer that develops in the retina, which is the lining in your eye. On June 15th, she ended up having to get her right eye removed as well as the optic nerve. The surgery luckily went well. The surgeon got clear margins and there was no obvious signs of the cancer spreading. Unfortunately, July 1st, they found out that the cancer was more advanced than they had thought. She was more at risk for metastatic cancers, which are cancers that could go from your eye to a different part of your body. So she would need chemotherapy to prevent the risk. July 8th, she had her first pre-chemo appointment. The surgeon saw her clear margins, but there was involvement in the back of the retina, which is a place that we don't want to see involvement. She had a successful port placement, and she started chemo over 2 days. On August 4th, she had her first appointment with an ocular plastics and oncology. Her surgeon was very happy with the way that her body was healing and signed off on getting her a prosthetic eye. On September 12th, her genetic test results came back. Luckily, they were negative, meaning that she would not be able to pass the cancer on to her future children, and that she was at a lower risk of getting cancer in her future. She ended up not having to have any more chemo because of this, just MRIs and exams under anesthesia, also known as EUAs. She met with an ocularist to replace her surgical port with a prosthetic, and in December was her final testing day. Her oncologist was very happy and scheduled to have her port removed at her next EUA. She had her eye fit for the prosthetic, and they talked about adjustments and a port removal. On January 6th, her MRI was all clear, as well as her eye exams, and they decided that she would have eye exams every 3 months and MRIs every 6 months, and many, many more appointments to have her prosthetic adjusted as she grows. With that, I decided to plan my project and do a spaghetti dinner to raise money. I contacted her family because they have already been very overwhelmed with a lot of fundraisers, and they allowed me to do this. I needed a location, a time, a date, how much I was going to cost, because I wanted to take my $100 and make it more. So I contacted the Humphrey family, which owns the Village Baptist Church in West Lafayette, and they allowed me to use the church. I evaluated my very, very busy schedule and decided that January 29th from 4:30 to 6:30 would be when I would host it. $8 was how much I charged, but it wasn't for a meal, it was per person, and it was all you can eat. Luckily, I was blessed to have such a large support system. My Aunt Mel and Uncle Bill gave me $100, 10 pounds of pasta, and the equivalent amount of sauce. My Grandma Cheryl gave me $200 to cover cost of buying more supplies or to just have to give people change. The Humphrey family as well gave me 10 pounds of pasta and their time helping me set up and coordinate my event. My family raises beef cows, so we provided the amount of beef used for our dinner. With the leftover money that I did have, I bought 200 pieces of garlic bread, soda and water, to-go containers, plates, and cookies. The Mason Lodge 224 gave me food warmers to allow me to keep food warm throughout the 2-hour time span. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the leftovers because I knew there was going to be a lot. So I contacted a church that we had recently went to during a program day. Unfortunately, they did not contact me back, so I had to figure out a different option. So in order to spread the word about my event, I made flyers and I asked local businesses if I could hang them in their buildings. Every single one I asked allowed me to, and I had a lot of them show up. I also posted on social media. My mom posted on Facebook because I don't have Facebook. And I had a lot of my friends boost it, a lot of family boost it, and I had a lot of people from around the community repost it and share with friends. On the day of my project, my mom and I woke up really, really early to start preparing food. We loaded all the food and stuff after into our cars and brought it down to the church. We used the kitchen throughout the day to cook garlic bread, so people weren't eating cold garlic bread because that's no fun. A lot of people came and socialized and sat and ate. I also had a lot of people come grab dinner for themselves and for friends, and that is exactly what I wanted. I sent the leftovers in gallon-sized bags with a lot of families as they were walking out. So with that, I was very nervous about making my $100 back after doing this. I was really paranoid that I was going to put my $100 towards this in my time and not get an equivalent turnout. Luckily, my end profit was $3,045 to give to her family. This project made me feel really good, and the family gave me a lot of gratitude even before I've given them the money, which I have not done yet due to schedule conflicts. I plan on sending out thank you cards to Mason Lodge 224 for letting me borrow their food warmers, the Village Baptist Church for allowing me to use their space, Mel, Bill, Cheryl Maple for giving me money and supplies, and I would like to thank Coshocton County Youth Leadership for helping me bring this vision to life. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Georgia Haines, and I am a junior at Riverview High School. My project is titled Comfort for All. When I was given the opportunity for the Pay It Forward project, I had multiple ideas, but I didn't know how I wanted to help. But the idea came from me in the school cafeteria when I saw a poster for the Comfort Closet, which is a senior project run by Paige Nicely with the help of Mrs. Davis. This project was created by Morgan Woolard to help any student in need of hygiene products or in need in general. It is currently ran by Coshocton County Youth Leadership graduate of the class of 2022 and senior Paige Nicely. Being able to help this project has been amazing, and knowing my impact will not only help now, but will help in the future, as the supplies I've been able to get will not go bad for some time. Mrs. Davis and Paige were ecstatic when I told them. Well, actually, when I told Mrs. Davis, she cried because no one had thought to use this project just to specifically help, as she has been running this project for the past 6 years. As the giver, giving this gift made me happy to know that these kids will be safe and cared for when they can't even afford their basic necessities, and know that there's someone out there looking out for them. Going to the closet, many people don't think that they're going to be judged, but Mrs. Davis works well to get them the things they need quickly without judgment, and they're never treated differently for going there. I also am very happy and blessed to know that next year I will be hoping to run the Comfort Closet as a senior project and help continue what I have started. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Brook Conklin and I am a junior at the Coshocton County Career Center. For my Pay It Forward project, I chose to donate hygiene and small comfort items to the domestic violence shelter. While I'm presenting my project, I have visuals to send around to the tables. Feel free to pass them around and look at them. One is an article that I published in my church's newsletter. The others are pictures of only some of the items that I got to donate. Other items I chose to keep private as they were personal donations. The ones that you see in the pictures are ones I bought with my own money and the $100 that was provided. So, as I was wondering, how can I make this as big as possible? I originally was at a loss because I didn't know how to start a fundraiser at all, having never done it before. So I decided through an outlet I had at my church. I'm very close with my pastor, Matthew Anderson, at the West Lafayette United Methodist Church. He was so open to me starting and donating, having people collect items, and give them to me personally at my church every single Sunday. I ended up taking a storage bin and labeling it and listing all the different items people can donate and everything that they can give me in general, who they can donate it to, and if they want to keep it private or not. I ended up raising over $1,000. After I hit the $1,000 mark, I decided not to track it anymore because I knew it wasn't the money that was raised that mattered. It was about who it went to and why it went there. I chose this because the domestic violence shelter is very personal to me, having been a resident once in Coshocton County. I knew that being handed those items from someone else when you come with nothing but the clothes on your back, you're so grateful. It's a feeling that you can't describe. And I knew that these small items are very big comforts for children, as I was 9 years old in this shelter. I received a small stuffed animal being the only thing I had besides my clothes. This provided comfort for me throughout the year that I stayed, and I was so grateful for the women that gave it to me. I did not personally give out these items. I donated them to the First Step Domestic Violence Shelter, and I had them hand them out. They're little grab bags for hygiene items, and mothers and children can come and pick up a bag as they need. I knew that personally, if I were to hand out the items, it might be a little embarrassing or they wouldn't feel comfortable with it, so it's kind of a take as you need type of thing. This project was about making an impact on someone's lives, and with these things, I believe they'll be very grateful because even though they are very small, there are little things that we can take for granted each day. Things such as deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothbrushes. We use these daily, but we don't think that other people do not have them. Having not had them before was very special to be able to give out and knowing I made an impact. I want to end this speech just thanking my church and my family. There were so many people who were anonymous donors that came to my uncle's garage, the Swales Auto Import garage, and just donated bags full of things. This was very helpful, and there were so many people that stepped forward generously without even having to ask, which really spoke volumes about the people that attended my church and even people I didn't even know personally. With this project, my church really pulled through. I didn't know who to come to, but I knew that God would help me through it. Just as he helped me before in the shelter, this was something I knew he could help me accomplish.
Hi, I'm Maddie Kiser, and I'm a junior at Ridgewood High School, and my Pay It Forward project is based on service. For my Pay It Forward project, I chose to focus on the First Step Domestic Violence Crisis Center and Shelter. Now, it took me a while to decide what to do with my money. All I knew that I wanted to make a big impact. After long consideration, I settled on helping victims of domestic violence. Coshocton First Step assists and rehabilitates those who have recently escaped their dangerous situations. First Step supplies household items, cleaning supplies, clothing, and food for people and families in need. After hearing about the great work that First Step is doing, I knew I had to help them with relief. I felt that my $100 in supplies would not meet all of their needs sufficiently, so I set out to get donations from my community. I asked the local Buellers for permission to suggest donations from passing customers. The manager, Bernie, was so hospitable to my cause, and my original plan was to sit outside with my dad's truck, but Bernie offered to put me inside by the customer service station where I would get full attention. With their permission, I started to work on my campaign. With a part of my $100, I printed around 400 copies of flyers suggesting items that the shelters especially needed, such as peanut butter, ramen, mac and cheese, canned goods, and so on. On one of my free weekends, I stood at Bueller's influencing people to give. I handed out hundreds of flyers, passing them out to every customer who passed by. After about 30 minutes of waiting for aid, I obtained my first few items. Then the pile of goods grew and grew. I seriously underestimated the humility of my community. There were so many people willing to give. There were many familiar faces. I saw Magistrate Christy Thornsley there, who we met on a previous program day. There was Nathan there, who gave me plenty of items. Bob was there as well. He was very generous. And Judge Batchelor gave me very many items as well. And after being at Bueller's for about 3 hours, I expected about $150 to $200 in donations, but I proudly surpassed that expectation. In 3 hours, I raised $440 in food and supplies donations and $483 in monetary donations. Raising 247 items to donate, I got $923 in value. That by itself was enough for me. I had already exceeded my goal by so much, and I still had money to spend. After categorizing and calculating donated items, it was time to go shopping. I went back to Bueller's to buy. I purchased things such as cleaning supplies, toothbrushes, feminine products, and a wide variety of food. After that, I got around 628 items at a $352 value, and I still had money to spare. I donated the remaining money to First Step so they could spend it on whatever they needed, such as produce and milk. In totals, I raised $1,048, 875 items. I turned this all into the shelter, and they couldn't have been more grateful. April, one of their staff, said that this haul would get them through the better part of the year. That is exactly what I set out to do, to help women and families that had no other choice but to come to this shelter and ask for help. I wanted to change lives and show the kindness and hospitality in that all it takes, and what it takes to make a difference. I would like to thank Bueller's First Step Domestic Violence Shelter, my family who helped categorize and calculate, and Betsy and the Coshocton Foundation for allowing me to help those in need. Thank you very much.
Lost my shoe, give me a second. Hello, my name is Madison Wilkin, and I'm a junior at Ridgewood High School. I know so many Maddies and Madisons. For my Pay It Forward project, my goal was to collect items to make at least 20 bags for foster kids, and these bags would include a blanket and a teddy bear. And I also collected other items such as hygiene products, food, non-perishable foods, and monetary donations. When we first got this project, I was very unsure of what I wanted to do. But when I was researching, I knew I wanted to do something that benefited kids. And when I was researching, I came across stories about how foster kids when they move from home to homes, sometimes only have a trash bag to carry what little they have to places. And I had also heard about this project that a senior at Newcomerstown had done the year before as her senior project. And I wanted to do something very similar to that. So I put out on my social media and my mom's social media that we were collecting donations. And so far, we have Coshocton Regional Medical Center at least has donated 10 backpacks and 5 blankets, and my grandmother has handmade 20 bears for 20 teddy bears to donate to this. My project is still ongoing. I plan on continuing to collect these donations till the end of February, and when I am finished, my goal is to donate them to Job and Family Services. And my hope for how my donation makes these people feel is that I hope that they give these kids a sense of self-worth, and they have give them a respectable way to carry their things, because just the thought of having to throw your entire life into a trash bag, that would make you feel so worthless. And I know that this project, it's not about me, but I know that this project, being able to do this and give it back to my community in this way, made me feel proud and happy to just to be able to impact people's lives like this. And I just hope that I can continue doing this, and I can use these lessons and experiences I learned by completing this project and continue them on into the rest of my life. I would like to thank the Coshocton Regional Medical Center. I would like to thank my grandma for making these bears. I'd also like to thank my mom for helping me organize these and get the word out there, and all the people that helped and donated. We don't have a count yet about everything. I know within the first couple days, we had an overflow of people that wanted to help and donate, and that was within the first couple hours of this post being out there. And I just want to thank everybody who helped and contributed. So, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Johnson, and I'm a junior at Coshocton High School. And for my Pay It Forward project, I donated my $100 to a teacher at my school who's battling breast cancer. And today, I would love to share that story with all of you. So I'm sure most of us, especially us youth in here, can recall the feeling of dread when entering middle school. For myself specifically, that was 7th grade. At Coshocton, our entire high school consists of grades 7 through 12, so to say that I kind of felt like a minnow being thrown into a pool of sharks is a bit of an understatement. My fears luckily didn't last long. As soon as I entered my homeroom, I met someone who was also new to Coshocton High School, Mrs. Heather Kistler. She would be my 7th and 8th grade science teacher. Though science was never really my favorite subject, it never stopped me from forming a bond with her. Her classroom was absolutely the perfect environment for myself to flourish and grow. As a 13-year-old young lady, I can't believe that I'm where I'm at today. It was so hard for me to get in front of people and talk and use my voice. But she showed me that I needed to speak because what I had to say mattered. She was always encouraging and supporting, especially of us girls. And as a 13-year-old, it was so important to have a strong female role model. I thank her for making me believe in myself, even when I feel like I am the smallest in the room. For making me use my voice and for getting my points across. These skills aren't in a student handbook, but I still carry them with me down the halls every single day. I remember entering the high school this past August to begin my junior year. Within a few days, I noticed a lot of the staff and teachers wearing these shirts with frogs on them. Of course, I curiously asked, what are these for? What are these about? And that's when I was told the news. Mrs. Kiser had been diagnosed with breast cancer. It created a lump in my stomach. All I could think about was her children, her husband, her students, and the millions of other things that go through your mind when you hear that someone has been diagnosed with the disease. It wasn't like I spent every day in her class anymore, but that didn't take away from the bond I felt I still had from her. It wasn't long before I circulated the idea of donating the $100 to her. I thought back to all the times she had encouraged us to be strong, especially us girls, and I wanted to show her that I was encouraging her to be strong too. And she is strong. Despite undergoing treatments and radiation, though she did take a temporary leave of absence, she's continued to show up. She's continued to be there for her students and to be strong and to show them how to do the same. I keep mentioning my interactions with Mrs. Kiser, but I also wanted to get the point across that she is a great teacher to all of these students. So I went and I asked some of her former and current students what they had to say about her, and these are some of my favorite responses. Quote, I remember that my life was a bit bumpy in junior high, but I also remember spending so many days sitting in Mrs. Kiser's room during her lunch break just to talk to her and have someone to listen, end quote. Another says, quote, I was really bad at Punnett squares, but she always took time to help me. And lastly, quote, in junior high, I was a bad kid. I didn't listen and I was always in trouble, but before sending me to the office or writing me up, I felt like she tried to put me on a better foot. She tried to make me be a better kid, and I'll always appreciate that, end quote. I hope that from what I've said and from what you've heard others say, that you're able to see why gifting her my money was such an easy thing to do. Handing her the card I'd written her, thanking her for all that she's done, continues to do for everyone around her, felt so amazing inside. It was great to see her light up and see her smile, and she even sent me back an email thanking me for the gift and for also brightening her day, even though she shed a few tears. Enclosed inside the envelope was the $100, and I graciously handed it to her and then left her classroom because I didn't want to make a big deal in front of everybody. I just want to say thank you to the Coshocton County Youth Leadership and the Coshocton Foundation for making this opportunity possible. I encourage all of you to pay it forward as well. Consider donating to charities like the American Cancer Society or the Breast Cancer Fund of Ohio to help find the cure for people in our lives like Mrs. Kiser. Thank you so much.
Well, I don't really think I wanted to follow any of them, so let me follow all of them. If you don't know me, I'm Piper, and I am a junior at Riverview High School. And so when Betsy first mentioned the project, I really didn't know what to pick. I had lots of options to choose from, so many that the decision was so hard. It wasn't until I was scrolling through Instagram one day that I truly made a decision that is close to my heart. Pipe to Perfection business owners Josie and Caitlin Richards' mother was diagnosed with breast cancer at the beginning of 2022. This diagnosis truly changed their lives and the lives of their family, and so they decided that last year was going to be a pink Christmas. All of the proceeds from the pink Christmas cookies they were going to make were to go to breast cancer research. I had always adored the Richards family, and I was in shock when I heard the news, and I didn't know how to help. But this isn't why breast cancer is so close to my heart. My best friend has the breast cancer gene, and every single woman in her family, with the exception of her mother, has had breast cancer, and some have beat it, but not all. Knowing this, I want there to be a cure for this horrid disease that rips families to shreds. With all of this in mind, I wanted to do something that would not only have a great worldwide impact, like ending this awful disease that's unimaginable to so many, but also impacting good people. And instantly, I knew what to do. So I contacted Josie and ordered 5 dozen cookies with my $100. After receiving the cookies, the next day, I went to Genesis Breast Cancer Treatment Center in Zanesville, Ohio. I know from other people that I've met that locally, this is the closest place for treatment. I wanted to make an impact on the people who change the lives of breast cancer patients and their families. The people who are there every single day to hold people's hands who don't have someone. This decision took lots of time and wasn't easy by anyone's standards, but it was the best decision I could have made. If you've never had Josie and Caitlin's cookies, they are very good. But these seemingly meaningless cookies meant so much to these nurses and doctors who work with this disease on a day-to-day basis. Making an impact on people who make such a big impact, not only in our community, but in surrounding counties as well, was so important to me. I had the opportunity to meet some of the fantastic workers at the facility, and they were in awe. Often in life, the people who deserve the most thanks are the thankless. Getting an opportunity to not only fight this horrendous disease, but also make an impact on people who fight it on a daily basis was an opportunity that I will never forget. I'm so thankful to Coshocton County leadership and the Coshocton Foundation for giving me the opportunity to pay it forward. Thank you.
I would once again like to thank the Coshocton Foundation for sponsoring Leadership Coshocton County and Coshocton County Youth Leadership, for sponsoring, to the Coshocton Foundation trustees for sponsoring the Pay It Forward projects, and to the young lady leaders who practiced philanthropy in this community. I think as we all heard this morning, they have made a huge impact in this community across a wide variety of projects, and truly it is not without the very generous nature of this community that those projects would not have been as successful as they were. So thank you again to our young leaders. And another final thanks to Claxon Communications for live streaming the event today. And I also want to thank many of our local school administrators who are with us this morning for the presentation and for your continued support of Coshocton County Youth Leadership. So, ladies, well done. Well done, each one of you. Very, very proud of you. Big sigh of relief?
At this table, yeah.
Who's hungry? All right, lunch is ready. Let's go eat. Thank you, everyone.